Hola, welcome back to Arsenal Ammo Check. It's your boy, Mickey Rican. And today we're talking what every Arsenal fan wants to talk about, transfers. Before we start that though, I'd like to give a thanks to everyone who has subscribed so far, shared the videos, liked the videos. I appreciate the support. If you like it and you know you want more, just keep liking, keep subscribing, share it with your friends, and let the community grow. So as I said, I was asked to talk about transfers. It's something that I thought I wasn't going to talk about because it annoys me to no end. But here we are, the end of another transfer window, and Arsenal have pulled an Arsenal. The lucky bit is that this first window was just a special window, temporarily open for the Club World Cup. So even though we didn't do the business that a lot of Arsenal fans wish we had done, all is not lost. I think the window reopens in a week and a half or so. So we still have a chance to make some signings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the important bits. I'm going to go over the links that I think are pertinent, that are important, the big links. Like I'm not going to go over, you know, the wild links coming out of nowhere, like, Messi, Ronaldo, like not happening. So there's no point in going because Arsenal get linked with everyone. I'm only going to go over the ones that I think that are realistic, ones that we've been heavily linked to, or ones that I can see us maybe pulling out, quite possibly. I will give you some names and then I'll kind of go into depth about what I think is going to happen. So far we've been linked with Rodrigo from Real Madrid, Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon, Garnacho from Manchester United. Yes, always linked with someone from a rival. Sesko from RB Leipzig, a guy called Konstantinos Karetsis, I think his name is, from Genk, Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad, and of course, it's not a typical Arsenal window unless we're linked with someone from Chelsea, and that is Kepa Arrizabalaga. All right, so going to the kind of important bit, the attacking options. So this is a big one for a lot of Arsenal fans. They want us to sign attackers, and we need attackers. We desperately, 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 desperately need attackers. We need some left wing cover. We need some. I think we need some cover for Saka, to be honest. But most importantly, before anything, we need that striker. We need a striker. We've needed a striker since Yang. We need a striker. The biggest links for strikers that we've had in the last couple weeks to months, Benjamin Sesko from RB Leipzig and Victor Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon. Now, this one has been one that it's drug on for a while. Um, I think before we were linked with Sesko last summer, then over the winter we wanted to get him. He wanted to stay at Leipzig. Berta has come in and everyone's saying, "Oh, Gyökeres is available. He wants to live Sporting Lisbon," and lo and behold, we were linked to him. Now, the reports that are coming from kind of the news outlets a couple weeks ago was that Berta wanted Gyökeres, Arteta wanted Sesko, and there was kind of a tug of war going on between them. And I think that kind of mirrors what we've kind of seen in the fan base as well. So you've got some fans who are saying, well, if the manager wants Sesko, we get Sesko. Other fans are saying, well, we've seen Gyökeres. He's scored over 30 goals 2 seasons in a row. He's the guy. And I think if you look at numbers, it's a very easy decision to make. I think you look at Gyökeres, he's had 30 plus goals the last couple seasons. He's been firing. He's one of the most informed strikers in European football. And then you look at Sesko, and he scored, I think it's 13 goals for RB Leipzig. They haven't made Europe. He hasn't really torn up any rugs. He hasn't really, lit the world on fire. And if you look at numbers, then it's a very easy decision to make. But I think there has to be a little bit more than that. So when you look at, a lot of people talk about the league. So you look at, Sporting Lisbon, the Portuguese league. Is it as strong as the Bundesliga? I mean, a lot of people would say the Bundesliga is stronger. You have Bayern Munich, you have Dortmund, you've had the Leverkusen resurgence, you had RB Leipzig, who have been pretty good in the last couple of years. And then you look at Portugal, and it's pretty much Benfica, Porto, or Sporting Lisbon. So, you look at the level of competitions, and some people will say, oh, it's harder to score in Germany than it is to score in Portugal. My thing would be scoring 30 goals, regardless of who you're playing against. At the end of the day, you still have to put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, we had guys like Eddie Nketiah who would get into attacking positions and couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. He's gone to Crystal Palace, same competition, hasn't really torn the world up. So, I mean, you have to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. I think the thing that endears the Arsenal board to Chesko is, one, his age. He's younger than Gyökeres. His ceiling is higher. And I think he gives you, if you're Arteta and you're the board, he gives you kind of what Havertz gives you, with that little bit more striking presence and that little more ability to put it in the back of the net. And I think how Arteta's looking at it and how the board's looking at it is, if we can get this guy in and he's got a better team than what he had at Leipzig, he's got someone like Odegaard feeding him, or Rice feeding him, then I think he'll score more than the 13 goals. So we're basically paying for potential. And I think a lot of Arsenal fans, and myself to a point included, I think the time for potential was 2 years ago when we finished second and we weren't supposed to. I think a lot of Arsenal fans want the finished product. We want Gyökeres, who's proven. We want someone who can just put the ball in the back of the net. And I think that's where the issue is coming with the fan base. I think it's potential versus product is what we're at now. And it looks like, for all intents and purposes, potential is going to win. I also think, and I'm saying this now, uh, I try to be optimistic, but I honestly think that opening match of the next season, that Kai Havertz will be the starting striker. I think that Mikel Arteta is in love with Kai Havertz. He's in love with what we can do. And I think that Sesko, while he will want to play, I think it presents kind of a problem if you have someone like Gyökeres in there. So if you put Gyökeres in there, where does Kai Havertz go? You can't have your highest earner on the bench, because he's not going to go in midfield, because now you've pretty much all but confirmed Zubimendi. He's got to start. So you've got Zubimendi, you've got Rice, you've got Odegaard. Where do you put Kai Havertz? He's got to go up front. Now, if you bring Gyökeres in, then Kai Havertz got to go to the bench. There's nowhere else he can go. But if you bring in Shesko, you can say, oh, we'll put him to the bench. He'll get the League Cup games. He'll get the FA Cup games. And he'll be fine with it. And I think it won't upset anything, because Kai Havertz will still be up top. And it doesn't change any of what the manager wants to do. And I think he can get away with not playing Shesko as much as, not playing him as much as he would have to play Gyökeres. So I think that's why Shesko looks like the better kind of deal for the board. And then I think that Leipzig will probably give us a better price. They'll probably give us a better, not price, but they'll give us a better wage structure. So Leipzig will probably, now it's being reported that we're waiting until July to sign him. They've probably agreed a better payment structure, whereas we know that Sporting Lisbon is notorious for wanting their money up front. Sporting Lisbon doesn't want to do 50 million installments. They want their money up front. They want, oh, we'll give you 2, 3 max, but that's it. We want most of our money up front. And I think that's a stumbling block as well. I think Leipzig are way more likely to play ball, if that makes sense. So that's my opinions on the striker. Um, yeah, I think it's gonna be Sesko. I'm not gonna run to the armory to get Sesko, but I won't be upset if he comes. I'm gonna back him, and I hope that he can put the ball in the back of the net. So moving on to the other attacking position, and we have left wing. Now, left wing was one that a lot of people. I mean, we've been linked with a lot. We've been linked. We were linked with Embuemo. Unfortunately, he signed with Manchester United. It looks. We were linked with Nico Williams. It seems that Nico Williams wants to stay in Spain. So now been linked. Well, we have been linked with Rodrigo. Now, I would be excited for Rodrigo. I think every Arsenal fan, everybody who's listening to this, every Arsenal fan would be over the moon if we got Rodrigo. I think Rodrigo is amazing. I think that getting him would not just help our team. I think it boost the morale. Like you get Rodrigo and shirt sales. I would go down to the armory myself. I get the name on the back. I get the Champions League patch. They would take all my money. Especially if it was number 10, they get Rodrigo 10, clean out my wallet. It's going. I'm giving it all to Arsenal. I think that another thing that would do it was to take some pressure off of Saka. And I think that's the most important thing we need to do in this transfer window is take some of the pressure that we see on the daily, uh, in games off of Saka. And what I mean by that is if you look this year, this season especially, Martinelli running in a straight line or Trossard running in quicksand, and then you've either got Kai Havertz or Mikel Merino. Those guys, they don't scare anyone. They don't scare fullbacks. They don't. There's no fear from the center backs that Marino's running at them. Will he score? Yes, but do you expect Marino to get play a threat of through ball and dink it over the keeper? No, probably not happening. And I think that has severely impacted the way Saka plays because if you look at the games, he's been double teamed, he's been triple teamed, and if I'm a center back, like I said, Martinelli running a straight line, I just got to keep running. He's gonna run the ball out of play. Trossard, I'm faster than that guy, so you know there's the only person I have to worry about is Saka. And I think that if you get a Rodrigo, and even if you get Shesko, even if you don't get Gyökeres, you get Shesko, you get Rodrigo, then teams, that fullback on that side, and that center back on that side, have to say, man, if the fullback get rinsed, then the center back is like, damn, it's only me in the goal. Like, it's me and then the goalie. Like, I have to watch Rodrigo. And I think if you get Shesko being, an all in all striker, he will have that movement that makes the center backs think, okay, do I go over here to Saka? Do I go over here to Rodrigo? Or do I look at Shesko? I don't know which way I'm going. And I think that makes us less predictable than it has in the last couple years. So we've been very predictable. It's going to Saka, and then we're hoping for the best. And I think getting a Rodrigo will kind of open up our attack just because of name. They've seen that he's done at Real Madrid. He's won everything. I think it changes the dynamic. Now, as far as what's the word? As far as plausibility or likeliness of getting this deal done, I'd have to give it 4 out of 10. I just if I'm Rodrigo, you know, we have a new coach coming, Javi Alonso's coming, and I think I'd want to fight for my place. We got dumped out of the Champions League. We didn't win the league. And I love Real Madrid. It's the biggest club in the world. I think I'd want to fight for my place unless the manager says, I don't want you. And barring, I think they're going to the Club World Cup. So barring, a disaster, then I can't see Javi Alonso coming in and saying, I don't want you. So I don't think it'd be likely, which is why I'm going to bring up this next guy. It wouldn't be an Arsenal transfer window if not linked with somebody you just don't want to see at the club. And a lot of people don't want to see Alejandro Garnacho. Now, surprisingly, I'm probably not one of the. I would take Garnacho. I know that's outlandish, but I would take him because he's young, and I think that he would actually give us something that we're kind of missing with a Martinelli. And I think he would be a more likely option than Rodrigo. Would I be rushing to the army to get his kit? No, but do I think he'd be a good addition to the club? Yeah, I think it would. I think it would be one of those signings that we finally take a signing from Rifle and they do something. Garnacho, is he Argentine? I think he's Argentinian. So he's got a kind of flair to him. Is he? To me, he's kind of like Darwin Nunez. Like he's kind of erratic. He's kind of wild, but he does make moments happen. And I think sometimes we need a moments player as well. We need someone with a little bit better chaos. And I think he would be a good option if we could get him at a decent price. And I think that's what will cause the deal to take a little bit of a left turn. I think that Man United would probably want, I can see them wanting 60, 65 mil for him. And that's just not a price that I would want to pay for Garnacho, to be honest. I wouldn't want to pay 65 mil. Now, if we get him for 30, maybe 40, I mean, we got Kai Havertz for 65, so I think Garnacho would give us more than Havertz, to be honest. But um, do I think that he would help? I think he would give Martinelli something to think about. I think he has a lot more pace than Trossard. I think he gives Martinelli a little bit of a workout as far as trying to fight for their position. And I mean, in my opinion, it would weaken the rival. He's not my first choice, but I think I would take Garnacho over Nico Williams. I think I'd take Garnacho over Trossard. I probably wouldn't take him over Martinelli. I think Martinelli, there's still a player there. I just think Martinelli needs some help. I think he needs some coaching. I think he just needs to some refinement. I think Martinelli is still a great, but I just think he needs some help. But I see Garnacho being a little bit of a more realistic option, but I don't think he's happening either, which means that at left wing, I don't see who we get in left wing. I don't see who Arsenal bring in on the left wing, unless there's someone that I just haven't thought about. But I mean, you could think about a free Jonathan David. You know, Arsenal like a cheap deal. I could see them bringing him in, but I see the striker being the attacking position that we we get shored up, and then maybe left wing we go what we have, or if something else comes in, if there's an opportunity, if Rodrigo just decides I don't want to be here, then that'll probably be it. But I don't know where we go as far as left wing. Now, moving into the midfield. So, as far as transfers in midfield, we have been linked with this kid, Konstantinos Karetsas, Greek international. Uh, Greek internationals give me a little bit of um, give me a little bit of PTSD, to be honest. We had Dinos Mavropanos, who didn't work out, and he ended up, I think he's at West Ham now. We had Socrates, who one of the best moments he had was protecting Mesut Ozil on the no, that was Kolasinac. Oh, Socrates. Yeah, I can't think of any like I can't think of a big moment that Socrates had. I thought it was Kolasinac. But no, that was most definitely Socrates. I don't know. I guess he was solid, but he wasn't amazing. So yeah, we're going for another Greek international. He's 17 years old. He's a midfielder. The thing that kind of got me about being linked with him is the fact that it's saying that it's reported that he's costing 35 million, which is crazy because we basically told that we couldn't sign what's his name, Juan Garcia, because he was too much. But we're gonna pay $35 million for a guy who's 17 and he's not even gonna feature in the team this year. So I was reading that if we do get him, he's at Genk now. We loan him back to Genk for the season. He's coming in next year, and I think, like I said earlier, I think Arsenal fans are tired of next year, next year, next year. We want this year. We want signings for this year. So I don't think that's gonna be a move that really, you know, that really excites the fans. Like, we're gonna spend 35 million on a wonder kid. Cool, but how does he help us win this year? We're 15 points off the league. We could have won the Champions League. If we played better, how does that improve us? It doesn't. It's a next year thing, and I don't think that fans. I think fans are, they just don't care. They don't care that we want people to help us now. We don't care about next year. Um, I can't lie. I haven't seen the guy. I can't tell you if he's great or not. I just 35 million on a 17-year-old. I don't know if it's fear of missing out because we missed out on guys like Bellingham. We missed out on some young guys. Your Danielle Mallins and your your young guys who were here or that we could have had that could have made a difference. But it's not something that 35 million. I just don't think that I get where we have to help the future, but do we not have anyone in the academy that would be as good in the next year? I don't know. I can't really say much. And then, of course, in the other bit of midfield, we have Martin Zubimendi. Now, Martin Zubimendi has been dragging on for months. Martin Zubimendi was the signing that they mentioned in January that was supposed to help us get over the fact that we ain't signed anybody. So, the transfer window was closing, and it didn't look like we were going to get a striker that we needed that could have helped us, win a trophy. Oh, we signed Martin Zubimendi. And then we get to this first window. Oh, we have Martin Zubimendi. And now, it got to the point where it said, oh, Real Madrid wants him. And as an Arsenal fan, you have fear. You have genuine fear sometimes when we're linked to a player and then your Barcelonas and your Real Madrids come in for them, because we've been there before. We've been there where we're linked to a player and the next thing he goes to, you can't say no to Real Madrid. You can't say no to Barcelona. Like, these are big, big clubs. So, when people say Real Madrid are linked to him, automatically Arsenal fans are like, well, that's another one. But it does seem from all reports, Fabrizio and all the other guys, that it is going to be Zubimendi. Zubimendi has agreed to deal. So we're just waiting until July 1st because Sociedad want the sell on their books for the new fiscal season so that they can go and spend and help themselves get into Europe. So that makes sense. But is it a super exciting signing? I think in the beginning, no, but people have seen him play for Spain. He scored, and now fans are just like, yeah, I'll take him. I mean, if we sign him, it's great, but I think for me, it's only great if we don't lose Thomas Partey. So if he's with Thomas Partey is backing him up, then I think it's phenomenal. If we lose Thomas Partey and get in Zubimendi, we don't have cover for Zubimendi. I think it's exciting signing, but I think we'll still be in a position like we are now, where if he gets suspended or something happens, then our midfield pretty much collapses. We don't look the same, and I think that's my fear as far as that transfer. So if we do get him in and we lose Thomas Partey, then it's kind of mid for me. But if we keep Thomas Partey and we bring in Zubimendi, I think it's a bit of business to shore up the midfield, and I think, that's pretty much solid. And last but not least, goalkeepers. There is no position that our manager loves more than goalkeeper. Probably left back. That's not true. Probably left back. Left back is probably the position he loves the most because we had 18,000 of those. But goalkeeper. So, as I said earlier in the video, we were linked to John Garcia. That fell through. And from some reports, it seemed like it really didn't fall through. It was more Berta coming in and saying, we ain't spending 25 million on the backup goalkeeper. We can probably get someone for cheap. and I think Garcia's ended up going to Barcelona, so good move for him. And Berta has come in and said we're getting someone cheap, and that someone cheap looks like it's going to be Kepa Arrizabalaga from Chelsea. Now, I'm sure every Arsenal fan, they see Chelsea and they are sick to their necks of getting Chelsea rejects. I mean, the last one, the ghost of Raheem Sterling. I mean, whoa. I like Raheem, Caribbean tax. I was like, yeah, Raheem Sterling. I like Raheem Sterling when he played for Liverpool. I mean, he was electric. And then he played for City, and I was like, but that Raheem Sterling that we got last year, that guy is finished. Absolutely finished. I watch him lose the ball so many times. It's crazy. That guy's done. And I think when we look at, I think someone did a post about like when we sell players to Chelsea, like, or when players leave from Arsenal to Chelsea, they end up winning. Ashley Cole, Fabregas, like those guys leave, go to Chelsea. I mean, even Aubameyang, I think, won something. Like those guys leave and end up winning. And then every time we get someone from Chelsea, they're awful. Like, I mean, like I said, I've only been a fan for 10 years, but I remember Czech was decent, but Willian was awful. I mean, the man had a beer gut. Like, he looked like he was on the beach every single time he played the game. Um, Raheem Sterling, of course, our favorite player, Kai Havertz, the Space Invader, Kai Havertz. It's just every time we get a player from Chelsea, it's a disaster. Now, I will say with Kepa, it's in my opinion, I think it's a good signing. So 5 million, I mean, dropping the bucket type money, it's not that much. Arsenal definitely got it. 5 million. Here you go. Kepa he played. I think he was solid for Bournemouth. I think he was solid for Bournemouth. I think he played what 19 clean sheets or something like that, or 19 matches, I think. But he was solid for Bournemouth. Um, he also played for Real Madrid. So, but people would probably say, oh, Real didn't get him, didn't keep him. So he just went on loan for Real Madrid. But he was there. I mean, he had to have gotten some good coaching. He probably got some good coaching at Bournemouth. I think as a number 2 keeper, I think that's a solid pick. Because, I mean, did you guys watch Neto last year? I mean, the man almost handballed it out of the area. I don't think you can get any worse than, we had Neto, we've had Matt Turner, um, Matt Ryan. Oh, what was that other guy? Oh God, Alex Runnison. That guy was awful. Like, I think we can do a lot worse than 5 million for Kepa, and I think that he's experienced. I think he's gotten a little bit better. He's not that terrible goalkeeper he was in at Chelsea, like throwing the ball into his net. I don't think he's as bad as he was because you grow as a player, and I think he's gotten better. He's not, I don't think he's Allison or Ederson, but I think if something were to happen where we need, Raya is not available, or to play him in the cup competitions, I think Kepa's a good signing. To be honest, I think he's a solid signing. 5 million. I don't think you can go wrong with that. To be honest, I think it's a good bit of business. And if Berta has brought that in, I think it's a good bit of business to have Raya. You've got Kepa, and you never know. He might dazzle and actually play Raya for his spot in Spain. Two Spanish keepers. They know. They probably know each other. Yeah, I think it's solid. I think it'll help the goalkeeping room, and I think it shores us up at the back for 5 million. That's it. I think for transfers, I don't think I have much. The window I think opens in a week and a half. We haven't signed anyone, but I'll be honest. With Berta, I think people are saying that he likes to kind of let the market play out a little bit. He likes to get his ducks in a row before he goes. So for me, I think it's more him trying to just bet in. He has signed a new head of recruitment, I think it is, from Juventus, and I think that's a solid signing. Uh, Juventus have had some good players come in the last couple of years, so I think he's had a big job. He's had a big kind of job to come into. He's had some big, I won't say big boots to fill. It's not because Edu was great or anything, but he's basically had to come in and sort us out of a mess that we've kind of gotten ourselves into. So it's not going to be a quick thing. We won't get all of the signings that we need, but for the first time in a while, I think that we're doing business differently. I think that it feels, you know, with this first window, it kind of felt like it's always felt like we've gotten close, we've been linked, and we're not getting one. But to me, some of the stuff that I'm reading, some of the stuff that I'm seeing, I think we have a clear plan, and hopefully, you know, we're not doing the same thing we usually do. Hopefully, we're doing something different. Hopefully, we are we're turning a page with Berto. We're acting like the big club that we are. I think that's something that we haven't done in a long time. We need to actually act like we're a Champions League level club, that we're a Prem competing club. We need to actually go into the window and stop dilly dallying. I think that Berta is getting there. It's not going to happen in one window, so we might still have, dragging our feet. But I think with the head of recruitment, I think we'll get a couple of signings in, and I think next summer is when we'll actually see how Berta has changed things. As far as now, I think it will be a striker. I think it'll be Shesko. I think that we may get a left winger, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we didn't. We'll probably get Zubamendi. We've got a goalkeeper. I think Arteta and the lot will add another. I mean, it's we'll probably add another left or center back, and I think that's the team that we're going to go into the season with. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what our transfer window. I can only speculate, but I hope that it's different. I really hope it's different. So thanks for joining me on the Arsenal ammo check. I will be back in a couple weeks with another Arsenal ammo check when the window opens again. I'll be back just updating on anything. Hopefully we got some signings when I come back. Hopefully we've been linked to some different players and some achievable players, and hopefully we don't get any rejects like Garnacho. I mean, even though I take Garnacho, but I know a lot of people don't want him. But hopefully we get someone better than Garnacho. Hopefully it is a Rodrigo or someone like. Anyway, take up most of your time. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.